Woman hammers down her wall to unravel the source of weird sounds inside her house. Hallucinations are common and can happen to anyone. Often people feel scared to go in an empty room because they feel that there might be some invisible spirit roaming in the dark room. But nothing of that sort happens in real life, and everything is just our imagination. At least that was what the protagonist of the story used to believe until one day she was forced to hammer her walls down to know what was hidden behind those bricks and get the surprise of her life. It was a normal day in winter when the lady of the house entered her apartment after a long day at work. She had lots of things going on in her mind. She had to pay the bills, help the kids with their homework, and run errands too. When she entered the house and switched on the light, her kids surprised her from behind the door, and she too acted surprised as usual. But she didn't know that there was another surprise that was yet to come. She asked about their homework and school while she unpacked her bag. The kids told her the whole story and ran to their room to watch their favorite TV show. Suddenly, she heard a weird cry from another side. A lot of times she tried to find it out, but was unsuccessful every time. She was fed up by those weird sounds and wanted to know their origin so that she could end this torture once and for all. Many times she thought she might be hallucinating and there were really no such noises, because it was she who was hearing these noises and no one else. But today she was determined to find out the reason. She sat on the couch while the noises still continued. Her mind was roaming in all directions, thinking of all the possible reasons behind the voice. Though she had never believed in supernatural stuff, these noises were shaking her beliefs now. She knew her kids were mischievous, but she was aware that they wouldn't do anything just to annoy their mother. She still thought they were playing a prank on her. The woman went to their room to surprise them instead. Were the kids making these noises? She tiptoed to their room to surprise them as she entered through the door. She was dumbstruck to find her kids sitting peacefully on the bed watching TV. Her mind had stopped working for a while, and she didn't know what to do. She came back to the living room where the faint noises still continued as she sat on the couch again. Who was making such noises if it wasn't her kids? While she was still thinking about the noises, they stopped for a while. This made her more scared. Her mind started to run in every direction as she thought about what could be done. She thought of telling someone and picked up the phone to dial her neighbor's number. She heard another faint cry as she dialed the number. She wanted to be sure before she involved someone else, so she thought of asking her kids about the same. She asked her kids if those noises were audible to them too. Suddenly, the faint cries had stopped. The kids couldn't understand what she was talking about and shook their heads in disagreement, and the mother too thought she had lost her mind. But when the kids were going back to their room, they too heard a faint cry in the room and got scared. They ran towards their mother and stood beside her. She, along with her kids, dispersed in the house and followed the noise. After a while, they got to one point in the house and were sure that the voice was coming behind the living room's wall. There was a television behind that wall, so they thought they'd probably first check if the faint cries were coming out of the television. She was sure that something was hidden behind the wall, but she couldn't understand how could it possibly remain inside the wall for so long. And now she knew that she needed to rescue no matter what was inside the wall. It wasn't that easy as it seemed to be. To know what was hidden behind the walls, she had to break it. It wasn't a decision that could be taken without thinking, but she had no other options too. She knew the point from where the voice was coming from, but she just couldn't knock down the place with the hammer, so she first needed to find a weak point in the wall. After finally making up her mind, she started striking the wall with the hammer. She could hear that the source of the sound was coming from the other end of the wall. Initially, she was knocking gently, but after a while, she knocked the hammer with a great force, and a hole was made in her wall. She had to hammer the wall until it was big enough to put her hands inside it. She paused for a while to see the hole that she had made, but she couldn't waste any more time, so she put her hand inside it. Suddenly, her hands felt something, and she grabbed it at once and pulled the thing out. It was small and fuzzy. When she finally pulled it out, everyone was surprised by the discovery. The woman couldn't believe that she had just rescued a little kitten, yet had white fur. The family was astonished that she was alive inside the wall. She heard another cry just when she was trying to comfort the little kitten that was in her hand. It was then she realized that there were more kittens to be rescued. After piling the dirt, she tried to put her hand again inside the hole and luckily got her hand on the second kitten. She then exclaimed, "Here comes another one." The second kitten was gray. The mother wanted to admire the kitten, but she heard another kitten crying inside the wall. She knew that she had to be really quick and realized she would need certain things handy before she could rescue more kittens. The kid knew that her mother wouldn't be able to single-handedly take care of the kitten and that she would require some help. He wasn't really expecting anyone to be out of their house at this time, but when he saw his Aunt Dottie, he called out to her loudly. She continued to rip the hole with more strength, and within a few seconds, she found another one. Was it the last kitten that was trapped inside the wall? She was in awe of the third kitten. The kitten was black and white in color. It was indeed the most beautiful and adorable of all the kittens. When she thought she was done with rescuing all the kittens, she heard another faint cry. She stuck her arm inside the hole once again to find the kitten. Luckily, she found the fourth kitten too. Aunt Dottie came running inside the house and was completely surprised when she saw the woman pulling out a live kitten out of a wall. They were astonished at how they would have ended up inside the wall and thought it wasn't less than a miracle that they were all healthy and alive. Aunt Dottie seemed to be the happiest to see the kittens and started playing with them the instant she set her eyes on them. The kittens, too, seemed to enjoy the company of Aunt Dottie as she played with them happily. The most amazing thing was the whole scene was being documented by a journalist who the woman had called before rescuing the kitten. He filmed the whole process, but when the woman had to take out the last kitten, he paused the film and went on to help her. This whole clip went on social media, and as expected, it spread like wildfire that had everything from rescuing the kittens to putting them in the tub. The lady was happy now as she had rescued 4 kittens, and they were alive and healthy despite being inside a wall. And most importantly, she was happy thinking that she wasn't hallucinating. She was proud of herself to have found these kittens and saved their lives.